welcome. I am crypto coach Celine, founder of London Crypto Network, and we are dedicated to helping other people succeed in the world of cryptocurrency. So we help you with step-by-step programs and coaching to get you started quickly and safely, and without the risk of getting scammed. But yes, my fellow crypto enthusiasts, we have a Fud-Off. Fud-Off. Augustine, yeah, Augustine Carson, Fud-Off. Yes, regular crypto and Bitcoin basher Augustine Carson has made some controversial comments about crypto again. He's spreading fear, uncertainty and doubt for those of you who don't know what FUD means. So if you don't know what it means, use the link in the description to take our 2-minute crypto terms program that will get you up to speed with all the terminology in the crypto space. But seriously, in short, FUD means to unnecessarily spread fear, uncertainty and doubt about cryptocurrency and the crypto world. And in the meantime, you know, well, if we look at what Augustine Carson says, he's basically the chief honcho at the Bank of International Settlements. Now, this is often dubbed as the central bank of central banks. And he said on Sunday that Bitcoin is a poor substitute for the solid institutional backing of money. As we should all know, the dollar is backed on nothing. Okay, so cryptos, you know, crypto enthusiasts around the world said that this man is missing the point. Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies are still in development and shouldn't yet be judged. And judging by past performance, we are sure that 100%, in fact, sure that Bitcoin is here to stay. And so we've had a CEO at Circle call the report shallow, and that they are not looking at what's actually going on in real terms of research and development in this space. I mean, there's a lot going on in the crypto space. Then we had the ECB's Christine Lagarde say crypto assets are worth nothing. Then we had not only that, billionaire investor and Berkshire Hathaway vice chairman Charlie Munger, he put what may probably be one of his last Fud-Offs into the mix when he said that crypto is worthless during Wednesday's annual shareholders meeting of the Daily Journal Corporation. And so this corporation, he's the director of this publishing company where he made these comments. He said sometimes he calls it crypto crapo, sometimes I call it crypto shit, you know, if we can say that word, S-H-I-T, you know. So he said it's just ridiculous that anybody would buy the stuff. But let's bear in mind, this affluential chappie is 99 years old. And so if that wasn't enough, on CNBC's Becky Quirk, during a live stream of the event, he said crypto is totally, absolutely crazy, stupid gambling. That's what he said. And he said that people who oppose my position are idiots. So I don't think there is a rational argument against my position. This is what he said, word for word. Well, we all know he's going to end up with a lot of crypto crapo on his face this time next year, right, guys? Yes, it's the future of money. Augustine Carson spoke about this as far as back as 2019, when he was at the Central Bank of Ireland's Whitaker lecture. Now, he said, you know, while they're spreading all this FUD, BIS, the Bank of International Standards, they have been testing the grounds for the gradual abolition of cash, for a cashless society. So, you know, on the one hand, they're trying to scare people off digital currency, while on the other hand, they're trying to create their own digital currency that is going to not be as free, empowering as decentralized cryptocurrency. So it's under the title of the future of money and payments. Okay, Carsten mapped out the long-term vision of globalists to gain control of the entire spectrum of the international financial system through the gradual abolition of the Bank of England, of what the Bank of England governor, Mike Carney, called a tangible asset, i.e. physical money. So they're going to phase out paper money, guys. BlackRock, they have partnered with Coinbase to make it easier for institutional investors to manage and trade Bitcoin. So I guess they must be real idiots then, right? Oh, honestly, these faceless and unknown elites control every penny you spend. They will get to tell you how you get paid, what taxes are deducted. You know, imagine having your inheritance tax deducted automatically on certification of a loved one's death, even if it might be, you know, that's the worst case scenario. So yes, central bank digital currencies marks the end of all of our financial freedoms that we enjoy today. If you don't believe me, then let's see what Steve Forbes has to say about all of this.
Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insight you need to better navigate these turbulent times. Central banks around the world are examining whether they should create digital currencies. China is gradually enrolling one already. Japan may launch a digital yen by 2026. India is moving ahead in this front. The Federal Reserve is on the bandwagon here, where experiments and studies are already underway. These moves to what is dubbed a central bank digital currency, CBDC, may sound like making sure financial institutions are keeping up to date and ensuring currency stability amid cryptos that are crashing in value, along with the sensational multi-billion-dollar collapse of crypto exchange FTX. Now, advocates say CBDCs will help central banks better fight inflation because they'll have more direct control over the money supply, that it will sharply speed up transaction payments between buyers and sellers in the marketplace, where settlements, most particularly if they cross borders, can take days before a payment clears and you can access your money. It will also help fight money laundering and keep rogue nations from evading sanctions. But central bank digital money is ominous. The downside of governments being able to track digitally every single product or service you buy and sell is chilling. This is where China's headed.
Yes, China's headed that way alongside Britain. Yes, UK have considered their digital currency. One of the earlier names suggestions was Bitcoin. You've got the European Union set to launch their central bank digital currency. You know, every country, almost every country in the world, or every central bank in the world is looking to introduce its own digital currency.
India has been trying to reassure skeptics by declaring that transactions would stay, quote, largely anonymous, end quote. But government bureaucracies won't be able to resist the temptation. They'll always have excuses like fighting crime or combating tax cheating. CBDCs would give officials a powerful tool of control and manipulation. It would be an irresistible drug for central banks trying to direct the economy. If they think the economy is overheating, they could freeze a certain percentage of your cash. Or if these poobahs decide that things are too slow, they could punish people who they conclude are saving too much. Spend it or lose it, they could decree. If you have undesirable political views, you might not be able to access your money, since traditional cash would be outlawed and your digital cash would be in a government-approved digital wallet. Digital cash would even allow governments to fine-tune monetary policy with individualized interest rates. Then there's the all-too-real challenge of security. Digital cash systems would be a hacker's delight. The treasure trove of data governments would have on every aspect of your life would be breached. As for speeding up payments, that can be achieved with improved electronic transfers. The Federal Reserve already has an experiment with that underway called FedNow. Congress should immediately hold hearings on the subject of central bank digital cash and ban the Fed from creating a digital dollar.
Yes, central bank digital currencies are the new form of electronic money that, unlike well-known cryptocurrencies, are issued by the central banks of certain countries. These central banks will have introduced a centralized form of economy which can even control governments. The central banks will be in control of the governments and the way that they spend their money. The trust that we have in between the relationship between existing financial institutions like banks, but in crypto we are our own bank. But that trust will now be transferred over to the central banks automatically. They will dominate and control every financial aspect of your life. The blockchain will be centralized, and it may be even unable for people to view the blockchain as we do with a decentralized blockchain. They would have the power to set currencies more so than they currently do, and they will be harvesting data on a massive scale. And the cost element of whatever repercussions come out of this central bank digital currencies will no doubt be absorbed automatically by the end user as the monies are withdrawn from your wallet just after 24 hours notice of receiving a letter, through the post or an email. This is the type of scenario life that we are heading into. Now, the concept of CBDCs have been around for a long time. In 1993, guys, Finland were the first central bank to announce their centralized digital currency. And it wasn't until 2014 when Uruguay decided to introduce their own digital currency. So today, almost the entire world, central banks are looking into or have already launched their digital currencies. The UK, as I mentioned, they announced their plans first back in 2015, and they are still in their research stage. They've got various names out there: RS Coin, Royal Standard Coin, Britcoin, and a few other names have been dangled around. And Nigeria, as we can see what's going on there with the central bank changing the Naira notes, their next step will be to introduce the e-Naira, which has already been introduced last year, although it's still in its pilot trials. Now, the US Federal Reserve have been very busy since 2020, and they've researched into 3 different central bank digital currency projects. Yes. And so the threat of central bank digital currencies on our financial freedoms is real and imminent. Okay, guys, as you can see here, Jamaica, Bahamas and Jamaican central banks, they've launched their CBDCs in 2022. That was last year. And these are live CBDCs. They're live, they're not undergoing trials. They've gone through their trial stage and they have launched. And it's interesting that you can see there's not really too much of an uptake if you look at the update rate on the volume that's being traded or used, shall I say, from these CBDCs in those countries. So we live in a world dictated by corporate enslavers. That's the 1% of the population who own all the land, all the corporations, all the wealth, and they finished buying the politicians and judges, and they own entire governments. So finally, they can now dictate the law. The remaining 98% of the mass majority are just pawns working for them in one fashion or another for whatever the oligarchs see fit. So a corporate slave back in the day, in the 1980s, was expected to work 40-hour week. You know, in the 1990s, that increased to 50 hours. In the 2000s, it increased to 60 hours. And now corporate slave is expected to work 70 hours a week. So imagine the same restrictions of freedom on your money in the bank. This is where we are heading. We are dealing with a small group of people who think they are clever and are trying to control people using central bank digital currencies. So they can get you to dance to their globalist tune like a puppet on a string. So what's the solution? Because it sounds like a hell on earth. You know, so in recent weeks, Jerome Powell at the Fed Reserve and Christine Lagarde, who we saw earlier at the ECB, they commented on the likelihood of implementing digital currencies within the next few years. But there are some governments out there that believe CBDC should never totally replace cash, which is what these guys are proposing, to totally replace cash and go 100% digital. To give you no choice in the matter, you have to take their CBDC. So imagine central banks would control almost all the transactions in a currency and have all the information of how deposits and savings are kept. You know, CBDCs would provide unlimited power to central banks to increase the money supply and direct it where governments want it, regardless of what the voters are saying. So CBDCs can be the wet dream of a centralized planner as the ultimate tool for the expropriation of wealth and taking control of an economy to put it entirely in the hands of the governments or the controlling elites, okay? So the question is not if global adoption of cryptocurrency will happen, but when will it happen? There are real life benefits to learning about cryptocurrency before mass adoption comes. And yes, guys, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency still has not been adopted massively. So this is the solution to keep people financially free. Now, the threat of the CBDCs on our financial freedoms, as I said, is real, it's very real, and it's imminent. It's here already. You've seen at least 2 countries, Jamaica and Bahamas, they've already launched their CBDC. So mass adoption is key to changing the financial future of our generation. So you are here because you are ahead of the curve. So let's see how you can make an impact on the battle for financial freedom. So how do we get started? You just sign up to the Crypto Craze Club. Go back to the person that introduced you to this video or this webinar and ask them for their link. Okay. Sign up to our VIP Crypto Craze Club, verify your email address and select a payment plan straight away to unlock the top rates. Okay, so you can earn while you learn. Share your link to supercharge your earnings. So it's a great day to start something big. So let's start today, get started today. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course, you can get in contact with me at londoncryptonetwork.com. Thank you so much for coming tonight. So we are going to see you on the moon. There's our rocket. We'll see you next week. Take care.